Hello everybody, my name is Alums. I am the Heart AmeriCorps Program Coordinator. Today we'll be covering budgeting. We'll learn how you can definitely control your money and help control your life. This webinar is a live recording. We'll be doing a recording of this webinar and then emailing it out to all of our members. So you can definitely have it later on to reference, but don't feel the need to frantically jot down items in the slide. I'll definitely get a copy of this as well. And should you have any questions, make sure you type them into the chat box. I'll be answering all questions at the end of the webinar. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So addressing the question of why do we need a budget? So we're going to really jump into these next 6 items. I want to go into detail about them and how it can be helpful to have a budget. So the first one, it gives you control over your money. A budget is a way of being intentional about the way that you spend and save your money. It is said that with budgeting, you can control your money and not your money controlling you. So budgeting saves you the stress of suddenly having to adjust to lack of funds because you didn't initially plan on how to spend them. It also helps you decide if you want to sacrifice short-term spending, like buying a coffee every day in exchange for long-term benefits, like maybe going on a cruise, or buying a video game that you've been really anticipating. It also helps you focus on your money goals, so you avoid spending unnecessary on items and services that do not contribute to your attaining the financial goals. If you are working with limited resources, budgeting makes it easier to make ends meet as well. Along with that, it makes you more aware of what's going on with your money. So with budgeting, you are clear on where the money is coming in and how fast it's going out, and where is it actually going to. So budgeting saves you from wondering every end of the month where your money went. A budget enables you to know what you can afford and take advantage of buying and investing opportunities and how to, and definitely make plans on how to lower your debt. It also tells you what is important to you based on how you allocate your funds, how your money is working for you, and how far you are towards reaching your financial goals that you have set up. It also helps you organize your spending and savings by dividing your money into categories of expenditures and savings. A budget can make you more aware of which category of expenditures take which portion of your money. That way it's easier for you to make adjustments. Budgets also serve as a reference to organizing your bills, receipts, and financial statements. When your financial transactions are organized for a tax time, or further questions, it definitely saves you the time and effort doing it while you're going along rather than having to do that a lump sum at the end. It also gives you the opportunity to save for unexpected and maybe even expected costs. So budgeting allows you to plan and set aside money for emergency costs. And also provides you with an early warning or potential problems. When you budget and take a big picture view, you might see potential any problems in advance, and you'll be able to adjust before those problems actually occur. It also enables you to produce extra money. So in budgeting, you get to identify and eliminate unnecessary spending like late fees, penalties, and interest. These seem really small, but those small savings can definitely add up over time. So 2 items are not mentioned above, but I definitely do think they're really good reasons as well. It helps you determine if you can take debt and how much. So taking on debt necessarily isn't always a bad thing if the debt is necessary or if you can afford to do so. So budgeting shows you how much debt load you can realistically take on without being too stressed about it, and if the debt load is worth really taking. It also enables you to communicate with your significant other about money. So if you share your money with your spouse, family, or anybody else, maybe a roommate, a budget can communicate how you use your money as a group. This promotes teamwork on working on common financial goals and prevents conflict on how money is used. Creating a budget is really important, especially if you're with a spouse or roommate. It helps avoid conflicts and resolve personal differences on how your money is spent. Budgeting also teaches family members, especially if you have younger members in your family, spending responsibility and accountability. So now we are going to talk a little bit more about how to track the money. So now that we understand the benefits of having a budget, we need to know how we can track our money. So tracking our money is important to be accountable with your money and also be able to analyze your spending. So considering that most people receive their paychecks through direct deposit and we hardly ever carry cash anymore, sometimes we lose sight of our money. Consider the amount of time you currently spend on tracking your money. Would you say that you only look at your finances after payday or when you're interested in making a big purchase, or do you look at your finances for every purchase that you make? Most likely it's probably the first one. You'll probably only look at your accounts whenever you're interested in making a large purchase and or whenever you receive your paycheck. But it's really important to be able to look at your finances more than just without one or two few times. And then really being able to review and analyze your money to see exactly how much you have and how much you're spending towards your needs compared to your wants. So there's so many ways of tracking your money. You can definitely use apps such as Mint, Pocket Guard, Wally, Good Budget, just to name a few. They're all free apps. I used Mint for a little bit, but then realistically it was something that I didn't really keep up with. And ideally it wasn't something that I thought that was being useful to me, so I kind of changed the way that I was budgeting as well. So definitely find one that fits to your own personal style as well. You can also use an Excel spreadsheet if you really enjoy making Excel spreadsheets and are familiar with it. This is a good tool to use because you can create a formula once and then you'll be able to copy over that information for each pay period or each month, depending on how you like your budget to be broken down into. I personally enjoy using paper and pen. I map out my bills and savings and payments on my daily journal, and then this allows me to color code, which I know you can do in other programs as well. I just personally like to color code things myself, and I enjoy writing, so it really helps me being able to remember exactly what I'm writing and really stay true to the plan that I'm making and true to my budget. You can also use your bank statement or use another card. And what I mean by using another card is being able to move the amount of money that you have to spend on a separate card and then leaving the rest of the cards at home in a safe place. This way it will allow you to only use the money that you've already allocated towards spending money. And then not have access to other money, so to make sure that it stays safe, either in your savings or just safe to where it's only paying for bills. So for example, my banks that I get direct deposit with, I only use it to pay bills, and then I put money into bills and to put money into my savings. And I have an online bank that I only use for small purchases, such as food or gas or, my day-to-day needs stuff like toothpaste and cat food. If I want to go to the movies, so just for small purchases. But I only use that amount that I've already decided from the beginning of the quarter. So once I'm running low on that amount, then I know that that's all the spending money that I have used for that pay period. So I definitely have an easy way of being able to understand whenever I already spent enough. So remember that tracking your money is meant to help you, not stress you out even more. So really try to figure out ways of tracking that and find one that works well for you. And this can look like a combination of different ways of tracking. So like how I said earlier, I used Mint for a little bit, which is a budgeting app, and then I realized that it wasn't really working for me. So then I moved to, just having a card for spending, savings, and then a card for bills, and, kind of figuring out if that worked for me, and then realized that I also like it to be a little bit more clear and something easier for me to remember, so I started writing everything out. So I'm now kind of doing like a combination of two. Definitely finding something that will work for you, and also just something that will actually keep you true to. So make sure it is keeping you accountable, as well as just something that you truly enjoy spending time looking at and also just monitoring. So now I do want to take a look at a budget calculator. This is a calculator that is provided by Vista Campus, so you can definitely look it up as well. Whenever I send out the webinars, I'll include all, so don't feel like you have to frantically write it down. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Again, it's on the Vista Campus. This is really great if you are interested in serving another term, or if you are just trying to figure out if maybe a job that you're applying for, if the amount of money that they're saying that you will receive definitely be livable on how, be able to afford your expenses and be able to afford just the lifestyle that you like to live. So you can definitely enter in, if you're making, let's say you make $800 monthly, and then you can definitely expense, let's say, living at home, so you're not really paying for housing needs, but you do pay for your phone. Let's say your phone is $75. Let's say that. But yeah, your phone's not going to have a lot of those. All the rest, let's say you do eat out quite a bit, so let's say you spend just about like $100 a week, or sorry, just about $300 for the whole month. Meals that you eat outside of home. And then maybe you have to pay for public transportation, so maybe that's like another $150 for the month. You'll get change. And then let's say you spend like $50 or maybe another $75 just on entertainment, whether that's movies, whatever it may be. Of course, if you have to pay insurance or medicine, let's say we have a credit card and the minimum payment is $25. So then you can come down to the bottom and hit submit. And so congratulations, you're living within your Vista allowance. Of course, it's not always a Vista allowance of $800, so you're spending $525 a month. So even with the very few amount of payments that we actually win, so that's rather quickly, and we're already at $525. Leaving us with less than $300 even to put towards savings, in case there is an emergency or anything like that. So just make sure that you are being frugal about your money, or maybe that I don't need to spend this much on entertainment. Maybe I can pay more often, or maybe I can carpool instead of paying transportation or public transportation. Just definitely bring those amounts down, right? Or maybe even eating at home, buying some groceries, eating at home, definitely bring that meals outside of home cost down. So this is a really great tool that you can use, especially I would definitely advocate for it. If you are interested in maybe doing another term of service, I think this would be a great way to be able to see exactly how much you're making and if you can afford to live on that living allowance. I know that's a concern that we get from quite a bit of members, is not really knowing how much they're going to be making. And I would even recommend, if you knew about how much your taxes amount was going to be, so if you're getting $800, for the month, I would even map it out and actually take out the taxes, so maybe you're actually only receiving $700. So then after that, you can actually see, now you're still at the same cost, and now you're at $700. You'll be able to actually see, are you still on track to make it, even with the taxes amount taken out. Definitely a thing to consider and to remember that the amount that a lot of jobs will post is the amount before taxes. So definitely consider just applying taxes to the total amount that you're receiving is very important. So they have a real understanding of the money that you'll be grossing. Okay, so there are different types of budgets. So starting off with a line item budget, meaning that you create a line for every single expenditure, every income that comes in, and then also any savings that you want to create. So practically just adding and subtracting from there. There's also the envelope method, which means that you have different envelopes that you place money into whenever, so let's say you have a travel envelope and a bills envelope, so you would actually place that money into the envelope and save it that way. The next one is a one number. So, for instance, if you receive $400 biweekly of your paycheck, then you would say, I am saving $40 out of that paycheck every single week. This can be tough if you have a paycheck that fluctuates. So let's say you are a bartender or you are a waitress and you rely heavily on tips. Then it can be kind of hard to still manage to save that one number, even if you didn't receive such a great day, and maybe your pay isn't that high that day. It can definitely be tough. I would then recommend a percentage budget, which means that you save a percentage of your check the whole time. So let's say you want to save 10% of your check and you make $400, you'll be saving $40. But let's say the next week you make $600, so then you would actually be saving $60 rather than the $40, which accounts for if you're making more or less. So if you have a paycheck that varies, I would strongly recommend using a percentage budget rather than a one number. And then along with that, you can also use the 50-30-20 plan, which is a basic rule to divide your after-tax income into spending 50% of it on your needs, 30% of it on your wants, and 20% of it on your savings. So this became a little bit more popular here recently, but definitely an also good budget to use if that works for you. So now I do want to talk about how to start saving. So I know it can definitely be tough in the beginning just to get started and really just sit down and look at what you're spending on and really make a commitment to change. Along with any other commitment, it's going to be a little tough at the beginning. But these are great tips and ideas to definitely get you started. So you definitely want to consider eliminating the debt that you currently have. If you do have money that you can put towards eliminating your debt, definitely going beyond just making a minimum payment on loans or on your credit card, whatever the case may be, to be able to not only avoid late fees but also avoid the interest that's going to occur on that amount of money. Along with that, you definitely want to set saving goals, and you want to make them really realistic. So your goals should always be realistic, written, have a timeline on them, and also just like very attainable. So you don't want to be out of realm of what you can actually do, but also just making sure that you really are setting goals for yourself. You're setting goals for yourself and actually seeing how you're making progress to attain them. So I would strongly recommend either making a graphic some way or drawing it out, having a couple different sticky notes around the house, just whatever it takes for you to really commit to it. But I would almost like the thermometer ones that you'd see in fundraising events, and whenever they hit a certain level, everybody goes crazy, right? Color it into that top point. I would recommend doing that for the money that you're saving yourself, because it's very gratifying to be able to fill it in a little bit or to just see the amount of money that you're making actually grow. And then also just make sure that whatever goals that you have, they are written. It's just something about goals that whenever you actually physically write them down, they mean a little bit more to you. You're more committed to actually seeing them out. Next thing is to set money aside first. So the easiest way that I can explain this is that sometimes whenever you get your paycheck, you would go and spend all your money and then say, whatever is left at the end of the pay period before I get paid next time, I'll just save that. And we come to find out that maybe you only have $5 left, or you only have a couple, not really anything that you think is worth saving. So definitely figure out and budget what can you afford to save. How much money can you actually set aside and still be able to do all your wants and cover all your needs. So I recommend setting your savings aside first. So once you get that paycheck, set that money aside and don't touch it again, right? Unless it's like an extreme case and you do need to get into your savings. Next thing is to test things out. So maybe you're going to the movies every single weekend, and movie tickets definitely not as cheap as what they used to be, especially if you're doing 3D or whatever the case. So maybe cutting back and only going to the movies, once every weekend, or only for movies that you're really looking forward to, not just going to go. So definitely cut the things out that you feel like you can, but at the same time, you can definitely put in things that are a little bit more fun, and maybe things that maybe not cost as much as well. The next is spending to save. So what this means is possibly spending more money up front to be able to save more money in the long term. So the easiest example for this is with insurance companies. You can decide to pay your whole amount of your insurance rather than breaking it into monthly payments. By doing this, they will avoid, sometimes they'll take a percentage off, so it'll give you like a little bit of discount if you pay it all at once. Along with that, you also take away like the fees that are incurred, like service fees, things like that. And then of course you take away the possible chance of late fees. So you're definitely saving quite a bit of money just by doing that. And of course, you would have to be able to have that lump sum of money there to be able to front that rather than making the monthly payments. But if that is an option, I would strongly recommend it. Next is to pack your lunch. So maybe instead of eating, eating to go every single Monday or Friday, you can definitely add up real quickly. And not being able to show up, I would not recommend that. I think we all get a little hungry and angry at a certain point, and definitely not really the best attitude to have whenever you're at your service location. So I definitely recommend maybe, cooking more at home, and whatever you make for dinner, definitely making double so that you can take some for lunch, or maybe even making a second item at dinner time, just making it the night before, or maybe even making it the day of. When I'm really lazy, all I do is a peanut butter and jelly, and maybe take an apple with me, but even that throughout the day helps me just like take away that hunger, and then I'll be able to go home, make food there, and then I save that money of not having spend money eating out. Also, I think like whenever I do go eat out, it makes it more of a reward than what it is just like, okay, I just need to eat and I'm hungry, let me just eat this. But I'll also give you a point of appreciation for being able to go out and splurge a little bit, right? Next, I would also recommend an interest-bearing account. So my savings account that I have quite a bit of my money in, it actually is interest-bearing. So what that means is that over time, it will earn a certain percentage based off the money that I have in there. So the longer and the more money that I leave in there will actually gain more money over time. So if you are interested in opening an interest-bearing account, definitely communicate with your bank and see if you do have one already, or if you could open one. I am at a very small credit union. That is who I bank with. So I'm not sure like what other banks do this as well, but I would definitely recommend if you are interested in that, speaking with banks or just doing the research about banks in your area, have interest-bearing accounts, definitely for savings accounts. Lastly, I would recommend a staycation. So staying home and having a vacation. Just because you stay home doesn't mean that it has to be boring. So you can definitely do things that are a little bit more, maybe free, or maybe just not as expensive. So taking advantage of the fact that majority of movie theaters will do a discounted day for movies. Usually they're during the week, but sometimes it'll be like $5 tickets or movie Mondays, or $1 movie Mondays, different things like that. Definitely can take advantage of that. You can go to parks. A lot of zoos and museums also do free days or dollar days, so definitely look into that in your local area. And then also just maybe, going out to a park or going to, you know, state parks or national parks that might not be as expensive to get into, but you can definitely have a picnic or just spend the day hiking or swimming. Especially now in the summertime, that'd be the perfect time to go swimming. But those are all great ways that you can have fun and not spend a lot of money, but while at the same time, you know, staying within your budget and really not stressing about going out and having a good time, but still being able to afford everything else that you need to cover. I think the worst thing that you can do is go out and, you know, spend all this money and then later on be like, oh no, like I need this out for something else. Now you're stressing about how to cover everything. So definitely living within your means, right? Okay, so some last couple tips. So develop a system that works best for you. Definitely try a couple things out. This is going to be a trial and error process. Don't just, you know, start a budget and then see like, oh, I'm not really using it, or oh, I didn't get to my goal in my first time. It's probably not going to happen, honestly. You're probably not going to reach your goal in the first time. And that's completely fine. This is a learning process, so give it a trial and error. So definitely develop a system that works best for you. If you need to recreate that system a couple times, that's completely fine. And definitely just making sure that it is actually keeping you accountable. You have ways of making sure that you are accountable, whether that's communicating to somebody that I want to have this amount by this time, or if it's you know, writing it down and really staying true to it. Whatever works best for you, then just make sure that it's actually working for you. And our second one is practice delayed gratification. So maybe instead of, you know, making all these small purchases throughout your month, saving up and going on a really nice trip next summer. So practice that delayed gratification. Yeah, it's going to be a couple months of really tight wallet. You know, maybe not as much going out. But then you would have the money of being able to go on a vacation, not really stress about, you know, are you going to be able to afford to do so, and really not stressing about, you know, how am I going to be able to pay my bills when I come back. So practice that delayed gratification. It definitely doesn't have to be something as big as a vacation. It can definitely be something a little bit more feasible. Maybe, you know, you want to do something really nice for your birthday, or maybe, you know, whatever the case may be. Just practice that. Or maybe you go to a really nice restaurant after you hit your money goal for the month. Like, that's also a great way of rewarding yourself. It's very important to reward yourself throughout the process and be able to recognize the growth and strength that you have to be able to commit to a strong budget. Nextly, using your resources. So definitely, you know, there's so many self-help books for budgeting out there. I definitely recommend, if you are big into reading, pick one out, see which one works best for you. And also just looking out on the internet and just seeing, you know, if none of those budgets that I mentioned before, see if there's another one that might work best for you. You can always reach out to me. I'm more than willing to help you set up a budget, or maybe if you're interested in just having a better understanding of budgets in general, I'm completely here for you. And then also reach out to, you know, parents or significant others. I think money is such a taboo in our society, but I really think it's important to be able to talk honestly about budgeting. I think that, you know, you can definitely talk about budgeting without having to say how much you're necessarily making. And I think that no matter how much you are saving, it definitely can add very quickly. So being able to talk to people and figure out, you know, maybe they have a better way of budgeting, maybe they have, you know, some secrets about how to make your money work for you. Definitely take advantage of that, and don't be so afraid just to talk about budgets or just to talk about money in general. So you definitely want to make some hard decisions, right? Maybe just getting started and really committing to a budget is a hard decision. Or maybe, you know, whenever everybody's inviting you to go out and saying no, maybe that's a hard decision. But making those hard decisions to be able to have, being able to meet your goals in the end is definitely very important. It's going to take a lot of personal restraint to be able to say no, or being able to say, I know I want to pull really bad right now, but maybe that's not the best thing for me to spend my money on. Maybe I already have food at home and I need to go home and just eat that. So making those hard decisions for yourself to make sure that you're meeting that end goal. So you definitely want to review and revise regularly. So, at the end of your month or at the end of your biweekly pay period, however you are budgeting, you definitely want to look back and see, did you meet the goals that you anticipated? Are you on track to meet those other goals? And then also revisiting about, what did I actually spend my money on? Did I go out a lot? Did I go out to eat? Did I have an unseen expenditure that I had to cover? What actually happened with that money beyond what we were just planning for? And then also review and revise, right? So if that budget isn't working for you, revise it. Or if there was an expenditure that ended up taking some out of your savings that you were anticipating, revise it. So create a new or an edit to your current budget and definitely account for those expenditures and account for making that money back up. Lastly is be creative. So definitely want to make something that will work for you, but also making something that you enjoy looking at, whether that's online, whether that's on paper, whether it's an app, just making sure that this is something that you'll actually use. So maybe if you spend more time on it, like making it physically, then you'll be more in tune and more just kind of have more of a stake in it, right? So like whenever I do my journal, I write it all out, and it probably takes me about a good hour, just because I'm real nitpicky, to get it all written down. So definitely after the end of that, I look at it and I'm like, oh, it looks so great, like yes. But then after that, I also am more committed to staying with it. I spend all the time making my budget. And while yes, most of the time it's just the way that I'm writing, the color coding and all that, but that time invested is just definitely something that makes me more accountable whenever I'm making my everyday expenditures. So I'm like, no, I already spent my time saying that I'm going to do this, so I'm going to stick by it. So definitely be creative, find the things that work for you. Remember that it's not going to be a one-time try and you got it perfectly right and that's it. So definitely give yourself time to experience with different budgets and give your time, be patient with yourself and allow yourself to make the errors and kind of learn it while you're going. It will definitely be well worth it in the end. Okay, at this time, I will go ahead and open up the chat box for questions. If anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in. I'll give you a couple minutes for that. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions in. If by chance you have any questions or comments later on, feel free to reach out to me. My email is up on the screen right now. And thank you for tuning in. This was the last part of our webinar series. And of course, if you ever need help with budgeting or any other career services, feel free to reach out to me. I'll definitely be more than willing to help you out. So thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.